Adding text to your composition is one thing, but adding text with interest is another. And to add interest to this scene, we're going to use some precise typesetting techniques. If we look at our composition, you can see we have 3 lines of text and 4 words. And it's kind of boring the way it's laid out right now. So what I want to do is actually tighten up the amount of space in between the lines. That's known as leading. And I want to change the size of some of the words to draw attention to these words. So obviously success and now we're going to make significantly larger. Now to do this I'm going to just use one text layer. Now I realize most of the time when you want to animate multiple lines of text, you'll have multiple layers of text. But we can add interest just by using one layer. So to get started, let's change our workspace from the standard workspace to the text workspace. Now, if your text workspace looks a little funny, go ahead and click on it again and make sure to reset the workspace to its original layout. Now you should see the character panel on the right side of your interface, and we have our text in our comp window. Now when you're trying to be very specific about the amount of space in between the letters or the lines, you want to actually make sure to work at 100% magnification. So go over to the left corner of the comp window and change the magnification to 100%. To give us more space, let's customize the interface by closing the project panel. Now to add more space vertically, let's hover over our mouse between the comp window and the timeline and click and drag down. Leave just enough space so we can still select layer 1. Now I like to select all of the lines of the text by just double clicking in the timeline panel. So let's go ahead and double click on layer 1 and that'll select all the lines of text. Now here comes our first keyboard command. Just so you know, I can make these adjustments in the character panel, or I could use keyboard commands. So I'll start with a keyboard command. Let's go ahead and hold down the Option key and press the up arrow, and if we look in our character panel right here, that's adjusting the leading. Every time I click the up arrow, it's moving up and tightening up the leading. Now I literally want these words to touch each other, so I'll make sure the first 2 lines are butted up right next to each other. Now the last line I want to go ahead and change because the spacing here is a little different. I'll use a key command for this as well. If you press the right arrow, not holding any other keys down on your keyboard, just press the right arrow, your cursor will automatically move to the end of whatever you had selected. Now if you hold down the command key and shift, or the control key and shift on the PC, then tap the left arrow, you can select individual words to the left of wherever your cursor was. Both words selected, I'm going to let go of my shift and command and just press the left arrow. Notice it jumped to the left side of what I had selected. So I'm going to press command and shift again and click the right arrow to select words to the right. So you can see how reciprocity works. It just kind of works back and forth across whatever you had selected. Now I want to increase the amount of space between these lines, and rather than using the key commands again, I'm just going to come over to my character panel and click and drag to the right. I'm clicking and dragging on the leading parameter. Now with that decent amount of space set in here, I do want to increase the size of the text. Now to quickly increase the size of the text, if you just tap once on the font size number, it'll automatically be selected, and then you can hold down shift and use the up arrow to increase the size, or the down arrow to decrease the size. Now let's go ahead and increase this. Let's make this size of success match the length of determination. I'll need to close up the space in between these lines again. So to do that, I'm going to press tab on my keyboard and move to the next parameter in the character panel. Now if I hold down shift and use my up arrow or down arrow, I can tighten or loosen the amount of space in between the lines. The up arrow is increasing the amount of space and the down arrow is decreasing the amount of space. And that was a little bit backwards from the way it worked when we actually had the line of text selected. So anyway, let's go ahead and click to the right of the word success with our mouse, and now just press return on your keyboard. And we want to go ahead and delete the space to the right of our cursor. So I'm going to press the right delete button on my keyboard. Now let's go and increase the size of the word now. I'm just going to click and drag with my mouse to select now and again. I'll just click and drag on the parameters in the character panel. This time I'm clicking and dragging on the size parameter. Now to go ahead and change the amount of space in the leading, I'll click and drag on that as well. Let's go ahead and tighten up success and determination. Just go ahead and click and drag to select success and click and drag in the character panel. To check out our scene, I'm going to go ahead and grab my selection tool. Make sure my composition panel is selected by clicking on it and then press the tilde key to kind of maximize that panel. So as you can see, when it comes to setting type with precision, you can use keyboard commands or you can use your mouse. The biggest thing you want to do is use your noggin and make sure you pay attention to creating some interest with your type.